Hi, everybody. It is November 13, 2019. This is your weather warfare report. Flooding, fires. I want to start with a plain truth for you who posted yesterday fanning the flames of war on California Part 9. Caught in the act. I'm going to play a few minutes. I will link below to all the videos and articles. If you want to watch the videos in full, then click on the link in the description box. But I do hope that you watch this one in full and then circulate it. Here we go.
Was sent to me. We now have evidence of the machine, the aeroplane being used, caught on tape over the Paradise fires on November 8th, 2018, which I'm going to show you in a minute. Now we have the smoking gun. We can see it clearly. And we also have the patent that he shared with me as well, which we're going to get into. But nothing but lasers could have done this kind of damage, folks. It had to be directed energy.
Why did it have to be directed energy? Well, did you check out that home? Excuse me? Did a fire just slice that home so neatly, so defined? So much begs questions.
This kind of damage, folks. It had to be directed energy, and also it could have been smart meters or underground lasers as well. There's many weapons they have at their disposal. But what doesn't melt plastic? Microwave ovens. What melts cars? Microwaves. So take a look at this, folks. Look at the visual. See it? You see it going through? That is the plane going through on November 8th, going through at a cross. You can see it going across. This is one of the weapons they used to cause all the damage that was done and the genocide that was done on Paradise on that day. And here I've slowed it down even further so you can see it moving across the screen. And this is at quarter speed. This is at quarter speed or eighth of speed, and it's moving very slowly. But I want to also speed it up and show you what the speed is on regular film so you can see how fast this thing's moving. So that
Okay, let's watch that again. And take note of what looks like pulses taking place. Pulses right in this area. Pulsating frequencies. So that was actual speed. Did you even see it? That, wow. Okay. Flying by. But yes, it does look like this camera caught pulsating frequencies. Very strong pulsating frequencies. Okay. So, fires, directed energy weapons. It's unfortunate that we do have the masses who believe that there's no such thing as directed energy weapons. Mainstream media told me that they're still in the research stage. Well, they've been using these directed energy weapons for a very long time. Militaries, not just the United States military, but the United States military. Well, they were using these weapons in the Gulf War, Iraq War, whole lot of wars. And the war, the unconventional war, against Americans in the United States. So, Australia, New South Wales, Queensland, other areas, They say that this could go on for months. That reminds me of Jerry Brown saying right before Christmas, and I can't even remember what fire was it. The Tubbs fire? I'm not sure. He's saying this is going to go on until after the holidays, into January. Okay, you may have months of this. You're definitely going to have weeks of it.
Since Friday, 300 homes have been damaged or destroyed, including 50 more just yesterday. And as victims along our north coast inspect what's left of their property, tonight the forecast is bleak. No rain and more dangerous conditions to hit this week.
Warned of a catastrophe, and today the post-mortem of the state's Day of Dread.
And as you're watching these videos, watch and look at what is burned, and then look at the surrounding areas and right above what is burned. You have dry conditions, no rain, dry leaves on trees that are not burned, but the homes are burned.
We're estimating in the order, sadly, of another 50 homes that have been damaged or destroyed. There could have been a whole lot worse.
But for Dennis Cutting at Boroughbridge, south of Lismore, this is as bad as it gets.
It was such a great home.
A home he took 10 years to build with his son.
Hours and hours and hours of work, making it into, the family dream. Now there's nothing left.
A few hundred metres away, a neighbour's property was caught up in the same blaze late yesterday afternoon. And this morning, a similar scene, a smouldering ruin, nothing left. At Nunna Glen near Coffs Harbour, more devastation, while the town's most famous resident also suffered losses. Russell Crowe, who's overseas, tweeted pictures of some of the damage, as well as the firefighters in action. Lost a couple of buildings, but overall very lucky so far. Deepest...
Okay. Yep. It's bad. It's really bad, guys. I'm going to read from Weather as a Force Multiplier, Owning the Weather in 2025. A research paper presented to Air Force 2025. And I want to read what they say about making weather modification acceptable. And also, in the United States, weather modification will likely become a part of national security policy with both domestic and international applications. Our government will pursue such a policy. Well, they have, and they're applying that policy. They are implementing that policy. The technology is there, waiting for us to pull it all together. In 2025, we can own the weather. Well, that's only like 5.5 years away, or 5.25 years away. They already own the weather. They are controlling the weather. And weather modification, becomes a more important weapon than the atom bomb. It sure is. You want to know why? Because a whole lot of people don't want to acknowledge that something's wrong with our weather. They like listening to the lies that it's climate change. They can't face And they can't face it. I know that. I've had the experience, and countless subscribers have had the experience leaving comments in the comment section about how they are trying, have tried to, still trying to just simply ask their friends, their neighbors, their family, just do some research on weather modification. And what do you get? A response like you're a crazy loon. You know, are you off your meds? You're a conspiracy theorist. And they say that without even doing any research. So they say this empty-headed. Empty-headed. Ignorant. Well, all right, so society will have to provide the resources and legal basis for a mature capability to develop. How could all of this happen? How could all of this happen? Here, the following notional scenario postulates how weather modification might become both technically feasible and socially desirable by 2025. Between now and 2005, the demand for more precise weather information by global businesses will lead to the successful identification and parameterization of the major variables that affect weather. Because they need those variables. They have to have knowledge of those variables because they want to change those variables. By 2015, highly accurate and reliable weather prediction capability validated against real-world weather. Well, that was in 2015. So now, 2019, they somehow always get it wrong. In the following decade, and this was, I believe, 1997, this paper, 1997. In the following decade, population densities put pressure on the worldwide availability and cost of food and usable water. Massive life and property losses associated with natural weather disasters become increasingly unacceptable. These pressures prompt governments and other organizations who are able to capitalize on the technological advances of the previous 20 years to pursue a highly accurate and reasonably precise weather modification capability. Well, they had a whole lot of the technology. Well, HAARP, 1997, I believe, was the first transmission of the frequencies from that array. But weather modification, yes, has been going on for so many decades. Vietnam, they used weather modification. All right, so this is how they're bringing about manipulating the masses into accepting weather modification. Massive life and property losses associated with these natural weather disasters. And yeah, when you listen to the news, when you listen to the government officials, well, they're sounding very pressured, and they're pressuring others. And it's all based on a lie, climate change, when it's actually directed energy weapons, the use of technology to create weather events. The increasing urgency to realize the benefits of this capability stimulates laws and treaties and some unilateral actions, making the risks required to validate and refine it acceptable. By 2025, the world, or parts of it, are able to shape local weather patterns by influencing the factors that affect climate, precipitation, storms, and their effects, fog and near space. They will eventually come out. That's why you see these ABC, CBS, news reports about, wow, really? Lasers to make rain? Alleged, of course. Well, that's Nora O'Donnell. The mainstream media does put on their shows, and they are shows, it's not news, it's shows, segments about weather modification. Eventually, they will come out and just broadcast. We can now control the weather. It's coming. Everything that we've been saying will suddenly be just public knowledge. And don't expect any of those people who have called you names to say, wow, you were right. They won't. So, the term, well, I'm not going to get into that, but this is very important. Could provide spoofing options to create virtual weather in the enemy's sensory and information systems, making it more likely for them to make decisions producing results of our choosing rather than theirs. Spoofing, hey, deception, hey, it's Mother Nature. Oh, no, it's the United States Air Force. It would also allow for the capability to mask or disguise our weather modification activities. Though, what has been going on with the weather begs a whole lot of questions, because it's getting pretty obvious that something ain't right. Yes. The technologies would make it feasible to affect regional weather patterns by making small, continuous nudges to one or more influencing factors. With enough lead time and the right conditions, you could get made-to-order weather. Okay. So, here we go. Climate change.
The situation in Australia, already in a state of emergency, is getting more dire tonight. The raging wildfires have reached the outskirts of Sydney. 100,000 homes in Sydney, Australia's largest city, are under threat tonight. Conditions have taken a catastrophic turn and are expected to cause fires in the city's suburbs to flare. There has been no rain, and the hot winds are intense.
Do you see that? Okay. Where's the glass in this car? That's how hot these fires are. Melted. The metal is melting. Fires all around. And yet these trees are left untouched. The leaves are left untouched.
Intense. The fires are the worst in Australia since 2009, when 173 people died. Climate change is a factor in making the fire season there start earlier and last longer. And as Eric Sorensen reports, people are demanding political action.
Fire season has come early and hot to Australia. For the first time since fire ratings were introduced, conditions in some areas have been deemed catastrophic. The first priority, saving lives and property.
We had just took off in panic, and all these amazing fire people saved my house.
But as conditions get worse, every year it seems, frustration is also boiling hot over a government seen as unambitious on global warming. Conservative Prime Minister Scott Morrison has consoled Australians, but declined to say whether fires are brought on by climate change.
I've got to tell you, as a Prime Minister, I'm never more proud of Australians than in moments like this.
But many Australians want more than comforting words.
We have a Prime Minister and a Premier in denial about climate change. This is real. We must...
Yeah, I can't listen to these people. They're stupid. They're just ignorant, or they're... I don't know what. But considering the technology that we do have today, and nobody is looking into it, looking into weather modification, directed energy weapons. Even if these fires, let's say these fires were not the result, they were not deliberate, brought about by directed energy weapons, though evidence is already showing up. Say it's the dry conditions, the drought. Well, why do you have a drought? When there are commercial companies that provide rain. In fact, there was a company that I think, I can't find it on the internet anymore. Was it Acquiesce? And I can't remember his name. I'm sure a lot of you know. But he's from Australia. And he uses frequencies to nudge Mother Nature to bring about rain. And he has ended droughts in Africa. But you listen to this, and I am sickened now. Most people use Google. All they have to do is put in the search bar, weather modification companies. Weather Modification Inc. Wow. And go to the clients and projects. Weather Modification Inc. My God, their clients right here on their website. Explore the map below to view projects. And who are their clients? Wow. A whole lot of countries. Australia, Queensland Environmental Protection Agency. They provide weather modification for Queensland's EPA. Canada, India, Jordan, Mexico, Morocco, Saudi Arabia, Spain, Thailand, Turkey. United States has the most weather modification projects. Whole lot of states like Western Dakota, Wyoming, Utah, let's see, Arizona, North Dakota, Texas, South Dakota, Sonoma Technology, Santa Barbara, and a whole lot of utility companies also modify the weather. Oklahoma, Nevada, New Mexico, Delaware. All right. But you just look at all of the results. Well, you got Weather Modification Inc. You got North American Weather Modification Council that has been around since 1950, providing weather modification services. Weather on demand. Making it rain is now a global business. Bloomberg, mainstream media, beginning to warm the masses up for that public announcement. Yes, we can modify the weather. We finally got the technology right, and we can do it now, and we've got to do it because, well, the loss of life, property, and the bringing about these events. At the same time, you hear an awful lot about climate change, and it's all coalescing to bring about a whole lot of changes in the world. Artificial clouds is another one, but yeah, I mean, come on. Wow, can't get through to people. All right. So, yeah, Australia is having a very difficult time. And this is one of the reasons, staring you right in the face. This man, I'm buying the lie. I sound oh so important when I'm talking about that lie, but I'm really stupid and ignorant and lazy, and I won't do any research on weather modification, directed energy weapons. And you know what? The fact is, Mainstream media has ripped us to shreds, calling us names. It's in mainstream media, articles, also the TV news shows, where they talk about the conspiracy theorists who believe that man is controlling weather. So there's no excuse now. There's no excuse. You're either going to use the brain that God gave you, or you're just going to have your brain taken over by government officials and mainstream media. And therefore, you're no longer present in the world. You don't know how to think, so you let other people think for you. Oh, yeah, you're all arrogant and you sound oh so. But the foundation of everything that you believe is a lie. Yeah. Well, this is quite the shot, isn't it? Look at this. Yeah. Wow. Look at that. It also melted the windows, but look at these trees nearby. Dry. Leaves still intact. And yeah, the climate change lunatics.
Climate madness, you can't go past the Greens. This week we've seen Adam Bant getting into a hysterical and nasty blame game for these deadly bushfires.
This government has had every opportunity to minimise the risk of these catastrophic fires, and instead it has chosen to pour fuel on the fire. Michael McCormack and Scott Morrison bear some responsibility for what is happening at the moment, because they have done everything in their power to make these kind of catastrophic bushfires more likely.
Then his Senate colleague, Jordan Steele-John, just lifted the hatred and lunacy to a new level.
You are no better than a bunch of arsonists. Borderline arsonists.
And yesterday, another Green, Larissa Waters, stood by while she shared a media conference with a woman tarring firefighters as wife beaters.
Women become extremely unsafe when generally the men return home from the fires and subject them to domestic violence.
Wow. I guess everything does come down to climate change. Domestic violence, it's a result of climate change. Now, how can anybody say that with a straight face? Oh, God. Well, what do you think this woman is thinking as she's listening to this? Okay, we've got lunatics in our governments. They need to get out. People need to begin to see them for what they really are, lunatics. But, yeah, this is the kind of pressure that you are seeing now. So you see the weather events, and I guess I'll end this video with this video. In the next video, I'm just going to post on the flooding and that Arctic blast. Yeah, it's very cold in South Carolina. But that's the manipulation to bring about all of these quote-unquote natural weather events that cause a lot of loss of life, property, costing in the millions. Oh my God, blackouts, PG&E, got to turn off your power. Everything is designed to create more and more pressure, and at the same time you hear the climate change lunatics speaking their lies. Yeah, look, all the information is still accessible on the internet. All one has to do is do a little bit of research, little bit, to find out. And many people have already done that research. I have on my channel, Never Lose Truth, a playlist, weather modification, with, I don't know, some 300 videos on how man can control the weather. So people have done the research already. All you have to do is sit back and listen. But a whole lot of people won't even do that. So, they're the enemy. They are going along. They're complicit with all of this loss of life. Complicit. You know, if they would just do the research and we could all stand united, yeah, I do believe that we could get these agendas stopped. But it takes, well, the world's people to stand up, because this is happening all over the world. No, actually, I'm going to leave you. This is my cliffhanger. I'm going to play this video, starting with my next video, on all of the flooding. All of the flooding and the Arctic blast and, yeah, that snow. All right. All links are below.